Okay, I spent 14 minutes making this video and realized I didn't have any audio, so I'm going to try to do a voiceover for the audio. What's happening here is we've got some artwork in CorelDraw. We've got it drawn full size, and we're going to export it as a DXF, and then we're going to open it in SolidWorks. But what I talked about is making sure you have something that represents trim cap. So I outlined 0.150 to represent trim cap. Seems to be a good number. And then I talked about how last night I exported this with the Raceway, and it made it harder to extrude in SolidWorks with my skill set. So what I'm going to do is move the Raceway out of the way and just export the copy with the outline that represents the trim cap. And so right here, I'm going to go Control E and export. I'm going to make a folder. I think what I decided here was to make a new folder and call it YouTube, or my little designator that tells me within my regular workday I'm working on a YouTube tutorial. So I'm going out as a DXF. I'm going to give it a name, full size state plus Jones, and probably my little YouTube designator. How clandestine. I don't worry about these settings. It always seems to export well as a DXF with the default settings. So I just say okay. Now it's gone out as a DXF, and we can switch over to SolidWorks. Now here I'm doing File New, and I must have pressed something wrong, and I back up and I do File New Part, because you could do Control N or just File New Part. And then we go to the front plane, and we're going to insert the DXF on the front plane. You know, you can switch the front plane normal to with Control A so that it's facing directly at you. That's a handy thing to know how to do in SolidWorks. So I go look for my DXF, which is in my YouTube folder. There it is. I open it. I'm bringing it into SolidWorks. Now here I always uncheck import as a reference. I guess you're supposed to. And the rest of it, I just push on through it. Could have even said finished right after unchecking import as a reference. And there it is. Since we exported full-size DXF, it typically imports full size into SolidWorks. You could measure it if you wanted to, but it's full size. So we begin. We have our DXF sketch of our letters with an outline that represents trim cap, and the first thing we're going to do is an extrusion. We're going to extrude the letters, which are the inside line. It'll all make sense in a minute. I'm waiting for this guy to do what I know he's going to do. Kind of funny, my first voiceover. So there's the letter extruded towards us, but we're going to be 3-inch deep channel letters, so we want it extruded away from us. And then we just go and pick all the letters to extrude away from us at 3 inches. Super simple. You know, you can hover over it and wait for it to turn that reddish color. As long as you pick the middle, you could click right away. Just depends on the horsepower of your computer, I think. I kind of like this voiceover thing because I know what this guy's going to do because I just did it without audio. There we go. Say okay, and we've got 3-inch deep channel letters. Oh, he's changing the color. He right-clicked, and he's going to change the color of the Boss Extrude to red. And he's going to do his little illumination effect, which just makes it pop a little. It's going to have nothing to do with nothing when we get into visualize with this thing, but it does help you when you're working, maybe color reference different things. Now we're going to do another extrude, but we're going to use the same sketch. And this time we're going to go 1 inch in direction 1. Of course, we don't want to merge the result, so he's going to uncheck that. In the second direction, 0.150, that represents the little part of the trim cap that protrudes above the face of the acrylic letter after you've glued it on. All you sign people will know what I'm talking about. And here we go. So we're looking for that little thin channel that represents trim cap. These are small letters. Okay, it's coming towards us in direction 1 and away from us in direction 2, but we want to reverse the direction. And there. Now the trim cap is 1 inch and the protruded lip of the trim cap is 0.150. Now we just go and select all the trim cap sketch references. Super easy. Don't know what to say while he's doing this. I'm sure there's a quicker way to select it all, but sometimes you just do it and it's fun while you're doing it. Okay. If I remember right, he forgets the little doohickey there. No, he forgets to color the face of it. Because in a minute we're going to recolor the face of the first extrusion to look like the acrylic face of a channel letter. You know, we're not really extruding the face. We could shell out the letters. They could become real channel letters with backs and returns. But for effect, visual effect, we're just making it look like a channel letter. And it does. But now we need to change the face to white. Only the face of the first extrusion. And then put a little illumination on it, or a lot really. He's going to go up to 40 with it. Favorite number for illumination. There it is. Now it looks like white acrylic and red returns, and right now it's gray trim cap, but he's going to change it to black. I know what this guy's fixing to do. Alright, now what he's doing is he's selecting the face of the T. He's going to turn it. Oh, wait, first what he did was he selected the face of the S, and he did Control-Shift-C, which would copy the color onto the clipboard, and now he's selecting faces while he holds down Shift. That allows him to select all the faces. Of course, he's going to forget the little doohickey in the middle of the 0, or the O. Now Control-Shift-V, and it changes them all white. Control-Shift-V. Yay! But he realizes he forgot the middle of that one, so he goes back and selects it, and he tries to do a Control-Shift-V, but he forgets to hold still long enough to tell it what part of that extrusion do you want to color white. Now he does it again, and he realizes, okay, hold still and tell it you just want the face of the extrusion. I hope that makes sense. We're going to do that enough time over multiple videos of mine that you're going to get used to it. I think he's showcasing the difference between what's representing the acrylic face and what's representing the trim cap, and now he's going to change the color of Boss Extrude 2, which is the trim cap, and he's going to turn it black. Ha! Okay, now we got some real looking channel letters, and I think this is the, nope, we're fixing to do the Raceway. I thought this was the end of that portion of the tutorial before we go into SolidWorks Visualize. But now he's going to draw a Raceway. It's easy enough. Oh, he's talking about how we could draw the Raceway. We could take this part into an assembly and make the Raceway a separate part, or we could just add a raceway and this would continue to be a multi-body part, which you can always separate parts within a multi-body part into separate parts. Now, if that makes sense to you, that's good, because that takes a little while to get your head around, but we're going to continue building a multi-body part. We're just going to sketch a corner rectangle on the back of the extruded letter forms. You can pick any one of the back surfaces. It just threw the view into normal 2, which is aimed directly at you, and he's thinking about where to sketch this rectangle. Really don't want any constraints or, you know, relationships, so he's just putting it up there. He's using a 7-inch extruded raceway. We carry both 7 by 4.5 and 4.5 by 4.5, but we're going to use 7. Now he's bringing it down and he's going to keep it somewhere. He's trying to decide where would you put the raceway. You'd put it centered on that little doohickey inside the letter O. And I think that's where most sign men would put it. Now he's going to do now he's trying to get it to the right length, so he's going to get rid of that 132-inch dimension, which was just a guess. And he is trying to figure out where to line up that into the raceway, and everyone knows you want to catch that little leg on the S. Now he's going to put a constraint on it with a dimension. So he's doing a mouse gesture, bringing up his smart dimension tool. Now he's doing a mouse gesture again to show you how easy it is to do a mouse gesture. You got to learn those, they're great. And he's going to go from the origin to that into the raceway and lock it in at whatever it comes up to by saying okay. Now when he makes the raceway longer, it can't go anywhere but to the left as we're looking at it. He's guessing 132. He says okay, and it's not even close enough to being long enough. He's still got it locked in over there, so he's just going to delete the dimension and probably go over here and just drag that thing to the left until it's the right length that he wants. He's still got his dimension tool on. Escape out of your dimension tool. Hello. I knew he was going to do that. That's the beauty of a voiceover. Okay, he's happy with that. Now he's going to mouse gesture and put a smart dimension on it, but he messed that up. Oh God, he messed it up bad. You can really choose quickly on a mouse gesture and flick the wrong one and you're doing something completely different than you wanted to do. Okay, he's back. Slow mouse gesture to smart dimension. Smart dimension it to 151 and change, and then he decides, how about 152? Yep, there we go. Now extrude that 4.5 inches. You can see the arrow showing you which direction it's going to extrude, and you don't want to merge the result, so you uncheck merge the result. 4.5 inches, and you got yourself a raceway. Easy, easy. Now he's going to change the color of it. It's not going to matter once we get to visualize with it, but you can. Right click. He messed up. Escape. Right click. Pick the color icon. Go down and make it some sort of a light tan color, because that's what the wall is out there in the real world. And then we're done. Oh, now he's going to save it finally after all that work. He's pretty cocky because his computer is mostly crash proof, knock on wood. No jinx. He goes into his state coffee YouTube folder, and he names it State plus Jones channel letters on a Raceway YouTube. Good name. And I think that's pretty much where this video concluded.